Um, Out of the three games that you worked on that I saw on Twitter, which game did you like working on the most between Insurgents, Tohen, and Celestite?
Uh, I'd have to say I'd have to say Celestite right now.
Okay.
Um, I feel like that's the first game that's 100% my style, or at
Okay.
least 90%. So I feel like I have a lot of freedom and comfort there.
Okay. In terms of sprite work, what is like any particular sprite that you're like really proud of that you've made?
I'm actually really proud of all the ones I've done,
Yeah.
just for the sake of each one's an improvement on something.
Mm.
Um, I'd have to say my Delta Noibat, which is typically the one people know me by,
Yeah.
um, is the one I prefer just because it's the one that like started it all.
Okay. Speaking of like your Insurgent stuff, how did you meet your team for Insurgents? Like, did you just find them on like a post, or like how did you guys meet?
We ended up meeting. Okay, so Insurgence was a thing while I was learning to be a sprite artist.
Mm.
I had started with Suze's other project, Zeta Omicron,
Yeah.
or Wyatt's other project, and um, I was asked by an old member named Nate if I wanted to apply as an insurgent spriter.
Okay.
So I was actually 4 months late into joining.
Oh, okay. Uh, is there like a company name you guys go under in case somebody wanted to look you guys up, or is it like just Insurgents?
Not currently. There is talk of us moving out of fan games and into custom independent development games.
Okay.
And if that were to happen, we would most likely form a company. But
Okay.
at this moment, no.
All right. What's it like working with people from like different time zones or countries? Like, because I know Suzerain's in Canada, so it's like uh, sometimes there's time differences and stuff.
I actually don't think it's too difficult. So we have on Insurgents, we have a ton. There's Echo in the East Coast, Zero in Hong Kong, Duke's in New Zealand. But for the most part, we all seem to generally be on at the same time, so it's beneficial.
So there hasn't been any like issues for time constraints.
Not too much. I think it helps because, like with Zero and Duke, Duke's on all the time. Whether it's on his phone or computer, he's always there because he's always looking at the server, looking at the community, making sure everything's going well. So, no matter what, you know he's going to be there.
So is he the one who runs the server for your guys' Wi-Fi area, or like how is that set up?
Currently, he is our main like coder and like wiki owner. The server is owned by a Canadian. I think it's a Canadian server for the sake of Suze.
Yeah.
Um, but normally Duke's the one running the whole website and the wiki and server.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Okay. Is there any specific like artist that you get your inspiration from to create your own sprites, or is it just kind of like off the top of your head?
So I think a lot of my style is reminiscent of Echo, who taught me.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's reminiscent of looking at the other fan games and going, okay, what could I learn from this? I try to so if I'm doing a fan game, I want to replicate the style of the game I'm making a fan game of. So in this case, it'd be Pokemon.
Yeah.
But say I was doing a different game, say I was being insane and doing Skyrim,
Yeah.
I'd want to still match that style. So I'd always do what I could to learn how to match that style.
Okay. One sec. I need to go get some real quick.
No problem.
Yeah. One of the questions, one of my friends wants to ask something, so um, you want to ask now, James, or later?
In a little bit. I'll ask him a little bit.
Okay. Um, are there any companies that you have lined up in the works that you plan to work for after completing the games you're working on, or does I guess the last part's redundant, but does your team have any other games planned for the future?
In terms of companies, no. I have not thought about doing like going with a different company and trying things. There was talk with one of the other major developers in fan games named Deo or Deoin.
Okay.
There was talk about me joining a project of his, but otherwise I'll try whatever takes me somewhere.
Okay. Go with the wind.
And then, like I said, our group is planning some stuff. We are planning. I don't think there's gonna be another Pokemon game.
Okay.
I think the group's kind of like, okay, we've done 2 of these. The community gets kind of hectic at times, so
Yeah.
I think they would just want to try something new at least once.
Like your own. Like, would it be the same type of style as Pokemon, or would it be a completely new genre?
That's actually in question right now. We're unsure. We have a lot of different ideas that could go a lot of different ways. There was talk of like a sim style game. There was talk of an RPG. There was talk of a platformer or a puzzle game. It's just all over the place right now.
Okay. What is your process when it comes to creating new sprites? Like, for example, how do you generate new ideas like Delta Noibat, for instance?
A lot of my sprites either come from an idea that either forms in my head or is given to me. So somebody else, so like with Noibat, one person who happened to be in the stream as I was spriting it said, why do you make it kind of like an overgrown building where like the vines are coming out of the building? And I took that idea and I go, okay, so a building is made of metal, grass. I could maybe do this, and it led to the bush around Noibat's neck, which led to the entire design.
Okay.
As for just ideas where I don't have people with me, I'll jot a lot of them down, and I'll start going through them and go, okay, this may be too complicated for something like this, or this would be great as a drawing, but maybe not as a sprite, because a lot of little details would be lost.
Okay.
And that's kind of the issue with spriting is, at least when you're working in a small scale like you do with a game, sometimes a lot of those details get lost. Whereas if you're doing it at a much bigger style, or even with a real paintbrush, some of those details could be shown better.
Oh, okay. Do you prefer making your own Pokemon, or do you like editing over current Pokemon to make them more interesting?
So I only know the editing the originals.
Oh, okay.
I'm still learning how to do it completely 100% custom,
From scratch, yeah.
but I do have the most fun, to tangent off this, I do have the most fun doing custom trainers and custom people. And that's where this has started growing for me, was starting to learn that I could do this without taking pieces. I can go, oh, how about I do this on my own? And then with a few feedback from people who've taught me, it slowly started coming together.
All right. When you guys make Delta Pokemon, how do you normally choose which type or ability you give that mon? Is it just kind of like based off their color, or do you just randomly throw a dart at the dartboard and be like, oh, this is fairy, this is steel?
I wish it was that simple. I so wish. No, normally when it comes to designing a new Delta, it normally comes from either we saw an idea. So, for example, say I wanted a Delta of a Ponyta or a Rapidash. So I would go looking around the internet. What are some mythology creatures that look like horses? Or what are some unique ways that the fire could be something different? So I'd end up maybe with something like a seahorse ponyta, because it would be a joke on seahorse.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens is you kind of either start with an idea already and then determine the type, or you start with the type and go, okay, what's common in that typing that I could change on this?
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Do you guys take ideas for deltas and megas, or do you guys just like to create your own for like
No, we totally take ideas. My newest one that just got revealed, Delta Dunsparce, was an idea from a very good friend of mine after a very mean prank that happened. And it's actually one of my favorite, just for the sake of why that design came to be.
Yeah.
Delta Noibat was a suggestion from the one person who decided to come watch me on Twitch, and the last time I ever streamed. Delta Vespa Queen was an idea of, why don't we make this into a rocket kind of look? And went from there.
All right. This is more of a joint question, but should I just let you ask this one, since this is technically
Sure.
the
So, are you planning on making a Delta Blaziken? I know that's a fan favorite Pokemon. So,
See, the problem with doing fan favorites is if you get it a way that that enough people don't care for it, people get upset.
right.
So I think that's kind of why we enjoy doing the ones that aren't always talked about. So like, Noivern wasn't really a mon that every single person used. Vespa Queen wasn't. Weezing wasn't. And it allows us to be a little more creative on our own versus just appealing to a mass audience. Because with the mons that are more popular, say Bulbasaur, we may have to go through drastic changes in design just because too many people said, oh, we don't like that. And that kind of hurts as the artist, because it's like, oh, well, I made it because I liked it that way.
yeah.
And it can kind of hurt the creativity there.
The thing I like, sorry to interrupt. The thing I like about the design of Pokemon Insurgence is that it's really closely, the style is really close to the actual games. So it feels like it's an actual Nintendo made game or a Game Freak game. And that's what I really like about those games. But you obviously put that creative spin on it, and the typing is so out there, the Pokemon's types are completely unexpected to what you would expect for that Pokemon. So like, what was that one? Oh, Weezing, which was electric
Flying.
Electric flying.
Electric normal.
Or
Electric
yeah.
normal. It was completely like opposite of what you would imagine Weezing to be. So it's kind of cool.
And I think that's what made this fun, was a lot of times when we're looking at the deltas, we go, what types aren't done in the real games?
Yeah.
So I know there was one time where we wanted to do fire water because it hadn't been done yet. Volcanion wasn't officially released.
Yeah.
There was talks of trying to fill in all the dragon types and all doing more normal type deltas, just because who expects a normal type?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's always fun when Zero, Echo, and I just brainstorm and go, what types could we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean you guys consider all starters as fan favorites, or is it just specific ones that are like top priority, like Lucario, Pikachu, like Charizard?
It's funny you say Pikachu. That one just got done, actually. Not by me, by Echo. No, starters are a challenge, because if you do one starter, everybody expects you to do all three. So typically, if we're going to do a starter set, we normally want a reason to do a starter set.
Okay.
And that's why the three starters are the three original, just because why not take the original and show our own spin with them?
Yeah.
And then people said, oh, do Gen 5, do Gen 4, do Gen 6. And it's like, well, we can, but you're not going to have access to all 3 of them because we would give it to you in a starter situation.
Yeah.
And you may see that happen as more of the end game gets revealed, but I won't be the one who says that. I would rather, when 1.2 comes out, that people see it for themselves.
Okay.
Cool. Any expectation for when that update should come out? Or is that still in the works?
I know we were hoping for summer, like late summer, or at least I was. I know Sue's just got done mapping the first section of the game up until like where most people stop. It's all gonna come down to how fast. So it's gonna come down to how fast the artists can work versus how well the sprites will look. So the faster we work, they might not always look as good as they could.
Yeah.
Whereas the longer time we take, the more we could see flaws and fix details. And it's also going to come down to just how long it takes us to alpha test, how many bugs we can catch. Because our goal is 1.2 will be the first release without 12 patches. The goal is it'll have 2 patches, maybe. And that's it.
And that's the finished game, right? That's
1.2, or hopefully as he should call it 2.0, is the finished game. That will be the 100% finished product. There will not be another content update.
Okay.
Well, we'd rather see you guys take longer and produce a well-made game than a rushed product. So that's always better.
I wish half the community thought that.
No, yeah, I saw that tweet you posted with the little girl.
I feel so bad. And I feel so bad. We recently made a joke about redoing Zeta and Omicron as a team, which would never happen, just knowing the team. Would be a bad situation all around. But, and I always feel bad because it always reminds me that as a game developer, people look to you not only for honesty, but for, like, helping their hopes and ideals come to life in the games they're playing.
Yeah.
So the tweet you just mentioned, it's a great example of a community who's like committed and who wants to keep playing with these developers.
Yeah.
But it also is a reminder to us developers that we always need to remember how we treat the fans and how we work with fans to give them what they want to an extent.
Yeah. Do you do any coding by chance, or are you just strictly art? Because I know in some companies they try to make artists learn coding, so that way they can help, and it's like more beneficial for everyone if you know a little bit of everything.
I'm gonna probably start taking up coding because I feel like I'm gonna need it for future projects.
Okay.
I know Echo is learning coding on his own, but as a group, it isn't necessarily mandatory.
Okay.
I just feel like Duke's been trying to help us learn it so that if he's ever gone, we can be able to solve problems.
Do games like when you're making say a modified game like Insurgence or something, does that require a lot of coding usually, or is there a lot of use the scripting techniques that are already in place in the game?
So on its own, a lot of these games do require a lot of coding. We are very fortunate as a fan game community to have an essentials pack made by Maruno, I believe is his name. But even with that, I know that there's a ton of custom coding that was put in for special parts of Insurgence. There's coding for the sprites. There's coding for the customizations.
Oh, wow.
There's coding just to make sure you have 3 saves as a player.
Yeah.
And that's always got to be a focus, is that each time you do a project, you can use the old codes, but try to improve on the ones you have. So like a huge one we want to improve on is eventually we want to improve on the trading. And battling a little bit, and the server that we just got is going to help greatly with that.
So you were talking about that you had an essentials pack. Is that free for anyone, or is that something that someone in your team made? Or
So the essentials pack is created for RPG Maker XP,
okay,
which at this moment in time is quite outdated. Most fan game developers in this community actually only use XP just for the sake of using the essentials pack.
Yeah.
And so long as the guy previously mentioned, Maruno, gets credit, everyone's free to use it.
Oh, okay.
What's nice about the community is everyone's pretty diligent on seeing when somebody gets credited or not.
Yeah.
So when somebody doesn't, project's easily taken down pretty quickly by most of the community.
Yeah.
Or told, hey, you need to fix this now.
Okay.
And that's nice. It's helpful because sometimes people forget. Sometimes people don't know.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that, like, if something goes awry and you didn't expect it, that people are watching and can try to help you.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of making a Pokemon game based off of, I don't know if you watched Nappies in their UCL League, but I was planning on trying to make a game based off of that, and I was wondering what Essentials pack would be the best, and the one you guys are using seems pretty
Robust.
interesting. So
Yeah, I believe it can be found just by looking up Pokemon Essentials RPG Maker.
okay.
It should be the top link, and the newest version is what most of us use.
Okay.
There's also various versions depending on what generation you're making.
Okay.
So the one he has is normally made for Generation 3, but by editing sprites and a tiny bit of code, you can make it look Generation 4. You can make it look Generation 5. It's just, a lot of that just comes from the art, not the coding itself.
Oh, okay. So then you guys are using a Generation 3 engine and you've added all the way through Gen 6?
Right. So his engine gives up to Gen 6,
Oh, okay.
but so our character isn't a Gen 3 model. It's based on Gen 4.
Yeah.
The tiles are Gen 4 or custom, depending on which section of the game you're talking about.
Yeah.
The following animations to allow all 721 to follow, that's coding from his Essentials pack, along with just all of the sprites needed.
Okay.
It's a pretty easy system to get into and use as you start learning it.
Are there any tutorials that you used or you found useful when learning how to create sprite art that you think might be useful for someone trying to learn?
Honestly, I tried using tutorials, and I feel like that didn't help as much as being able to watch somebody do it.
Okay.
So when I was originally starting, I watched Voluntary Twitch, who is the sprite artist for project known as Pokemon Uranium. I watched Echo the Third, who is the sprite artist now for Insurgence, as the main sprite artist of the three.
Okay.
He's the one who's going to get the lead title, but realistically, we all do it together.
Yeah.
And I just watch the community whenever I can, a couple videos, and it helps a lot. It helps seeing people's mistakes, how they fix it, what type of style they choose to do, because it helps you learn maybe how differently to shade or what colors work better. There's a lot of things you can learn just by watching somebody. But looking at a static tutorial image doesn't always help.
Yeah. Speaking of tutorials, do you plan on making any tutorials explaining your process at all, or like any of the programs that you use, or?
I have debated making one for Photoshop CS6, which is what I currently use.
Okay.
But I feel like that's another moment where I feel like a lot of it comes from just playing with the program.
Okay.
And I know as myself, my sprites can be convoluted on how I end up doing them. They can be it looks unorganized, and in my head it's organized, but it isn't always the cleanest process, so I don't know how I could express that. it's just one of those things you experience and you find a way that works and you stick with it and you start improving that style slowly.
Okay.
I think we've all kind of experienced that at some point in our lives, working on something, and like you said, takes some time to really get the idea. Really, you start not really knowing where it's gonna lead, and finished product might look different than what you initially planned.
I've got a few right now that are just like that.
Is there anything that you wish you could go back and edit in any of the games you worked on that you can think of off the top of your head, like specifically?
There's a lot. I wish I could go back to Tohen and just try again. That game came at a moment that was like I was still learning with Insurgence.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot I still had to learn. And right as I was exiting Tohen, Celestite started.
Yeah.
But Celestite gave me the opportunity where it's 100% you. There were three characters I had to follow a certain style of, and otherwise it was me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really nice to have that freedom. So it's the only reason that project stuck around, and I'm really happy it did overall. But if I could, I would easily go back to Babu, who was the Tohen creator,
Mm-hmm.
and I would help him finish or remake some stuff.
Okay.
But there's another one that I did want to bring up. One thing I do wish I could go back and fix wasn't so much the sprite, was just so much how I learned. So I learned under Echo, the third. And the one thing I wish I could have changed about that is just how I approached it with him. Because I feel like that would have helped our student-teacher kind of connection there, along with just friend connection there. Because I feel like when you're on the screen and you're on a chat board, you don't always remember that person outside has very different lives from you.
Yeah.
So Echo worked a job almost day in, day out. When he sprited, it was late at night. He didn't always teach me what I thought I was going to learn, and that was simply because he didn't have the time. And looking back at it now, I wish I would have known that. I would have given him the chance to teach me when he could.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I rushed that, and it hurt me a little bit. So, to this day, I still am a little hard on hair. I'm still not very good at fur. I'm still not good at backs. And that's because I kind of rushed with him trying to learn, and I shouldn't have.
Okay. Well, I guess you already answered this question. Do you plan on working on any other games besides Pokemon in the future?
Yeah, I'd love to if I could. If I can find one that just sticks, I'd love to.
Is there another medium other than Pokemon engines that is of interest of you?
I'd love to experiment with Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to maybe break out of 2-dimensional pixel art, try 3-dimensional. Or I'd love to do more complicated characters and just a different pixel art style.
Right.
Just to test myself and see how I can make that switch and how quickly I could.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Because I feel like one of the best ways to learn is to just change periodically. Change what you're doing, change how you're thinking about it. Because as you change periodically and go back to certain things, you learn more about what you could have done and how you can change it to make it better for that style.
Right.
All right. Is there any advice you would give someone who does 2D art and they're trying to do sprite art, beginner's advice to start off? Wow, I can't. This is worded so bad. Is there any advice you would give to a beginner that wants to become a sprite artist?
There's two pieces of advice I give.
Okay.
There's time and motivation.
Okay.
Time, you need to take your time.
Okay.
So I've been a year and a half as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, I feel really good about what I've accomplished. But then I always look at the other artists in the community and always wonder, oh, how could I be like them?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I learned is that, well, that takes time. Twitch has been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Echo's done it for 10 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to learn every single skill. So if you're, as a new artist, if you're not getting something right or you don't like it, that's fine. You just keep trying and you keep working. Because it'll take time to get it the way you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just rushing through it, nothing's going to be how you want it.
Yeah.
And then my second piece of advice is motivation. When you feel that motivation, hold on to it and use it. Motivation isn't something people always think of as entirely important. Some people think, oh, you can work through it if you don't immediately feel the motivation.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't. That motivation is what drives the creativity. When the days I want to sprite are the days I make my best sprites.
Mm-hmm.
They're the days where new ideas and new designs finally come out versus the days where I'm just fixing up old designs or I'm doing simple stuff that doesn't need much new creativity. So any day I feel that motivation, it's a blessing as an artist to just say, okay, let's put this somewhere and see where I can change or do it, use it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. All right. Just what you were gonna.
Oh no,
Okay.
that was just really good advice.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the listeners will really appreciate that. Mm-hmm.
This isn't a podcast. This is an interview. Okay.
It's a podcast or video.
Well, to be fair, I couldn't tell it was an interview because half my screen's been frozen the whole time.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that works.
So to me, it was a listening.
Yeah. No.
So I hope I was looking at the camera half the time.
No. Yeah. That's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything you said has been helpful. I guess my last question is, I remember. I forget if it was you or Susan. One of you guys said delta typhlosion was not a thing. I just want to know why.
Okay. Give me a second. Delta typhlosion will never be a thing. For the simple fact of my application into Insurgence.
Mm-hmm.
When I was applying to be a sprite arter in Insurgence, my first task as my test was make a Delta Cyndaquil.
Oh, come on.
This Delta Cyndaquil had to be fire and steel.
Mm.
And I will offer you the link so you can see A, the progression of sprite work and how ideas change over time,
Mm-hmm.
but also B, the motivation and drive you have to have as an artist.
Yeah.
Because, and I hope other people see this because seriously, this is a sad and also great example.
Mm-hmm.
I made 7 versions of Cyndaquil before I got accepted.
Wow.
I made a really bad version. First off, I made a version that was ice and steel.
Ooh.
Before somebody told me it had to be fire and steel.
That sucks.
But that was my creative one, and it wasn't my best.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, eventually I want to do it for just fun and
Yeah.
try to remake it. But I'll do it after Insurgence is done.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And then version 1 came, and it was bad. Then version 2 came, which was from help with... So when I was applying, they never gave me a limitation on how I could do it.
Yeah.
So the very first thing I did was I grabbed my top 5 friends from the chat room that we all worked in,
Mm-hmm.
and I pulled them all together and I said, okay, help me improve this. because I want to be on this team. I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on Zeta and Omicron just as a fan, and now I finally get a chance to work with Suze. I want to do it.
Yeah.
And it turns out I almost never work with Suze, but that's besides the point. Never on, ever. But anyway, so version 2 was with my friend Demon Knight. Version 3 was with Sleepymon. Version 4 was with a guy named Assem, Assem.
Mm-hmm.
Version 5 was from Nate's help, and version 6 was my own. That one was just colors.
Okay.
And then version 7 was, I think, also myself. Just I got nitpicky.
Okay.
And I finally put them all into one Imgur gallery, and I sent them to Echo, and I said, please, I've been working on this for like 3 days. I'm trying so hard. Is there any way you could accept me? And I'm not going to lie, it was begging. It was begging.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember him looking at it and going, well, you're very determined. You don't give up. And then what actually caught his eye was the stuff I did on Zeta Omicron and not this test.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such a huge eye-opener to me. It wasn't about this horrible, horrible thing that I created, but it was about the fact that even my earliest stuff had the potential to be great, and I just had to have faith in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, I think it was the Mega Typhlosion icon that Insurgence uses to this day,
Yeah.
and Echo used to use as his flare. And he goes, holy crap, you made that? And that's ultimately what helped get me in. But
Wow.
those 8 Cyndaquils are the reason you'll never see Typhlosion.
Oh. I mean, I'd love to see the work.
Oh no, you can see them in 1 second as soon as I find the link.
All right.
We'll put them right here on the screen so people can see it.
No, that's not.
Cool.
I hate
Wow.
that sprite so much.
I mean, I do love your Mega Sprite. That Typhlosion is awesome.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Though, when it came to typing, did you ever decide to make Typhlosion another type, or you just wanted to strictly stay fire?
You mean for the Mega?
Yeah.
Oh, that Mega was not designed by me.
Oh.
The actual Battler was made back in Zeta Omicron,
Mm-hmm.
and it's based off a DeviantArt page drawing. We got credit to use it.
Oh, okay.
But what he was talking about was the little icon that's shown in your party.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when I was starting, my first thing I did was I made a whole pack for all of the mons that were in Insurgence.
Yeah.
That were in Zeta. Sorry, Zeta.
Yeah.
And it was called the Gen 6 Icon Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it with like 5 or 6 friends. And that's what got my name to Suze, which later led to me getting offered an application.
Yeah.
What's funny, though, is by bringing up Typhlosion, you actually bring up Celestite, which will have a Mega Typhlosion that is my own. It is custom.
Nice.
All right.
And it is Fire Steel.
Sweet.
So, I mean, you still got your Typhlosion in there. Maybe not Delta.
It's made because of that Delta.
Yeah.
So we had a Grass Fairy Meganium that we wanted to use,
Mm-hmm.
and it will be a Mega. So we wanted to make a typing triangle based on the Grass Fairy,
Oh, okay.
and it led to Water Fighting, which might change. But if we use Water Fighting, that leads to Fire Steel.
Yeah.
So we may be seeing my little buddy again.
Cool.
Yeah, because I know everyone wants Water Dragon for Alligator.
I've heard that. I've heard Water Ice.
Yeah.
But the Grass Fairy was too good of a design.
No, yeah. No, everyone's expecting Fairy Grass Meganium.
So it's just kind of the question of if we want to make it a typing triangle again, or
Yeah.
if we just want to do unique typings.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we do unique
Makes
typings,
sense.
I'll end up doing like Fire Rock or Fire. What was I thinking of? Fire Dark, probably.
Makes sense.
I don't know. Something about Fire Dark makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably end up doing either water rock, which would be like based on coral, or water ice. I haven't heard water dragon too much. I've never really thought of that one.
Oh, really?
That's not a bad one, though. I'll probably end up marking that one down.
I think it's because he has Dragon Dance, so everyone's wondering why he has that.
Oh, that's probably where a lot of people get that idea.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to not have Dragon Dance when you have a nice sprite like the Gen 3 pack.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Everybody loves that Gen 3 pack.
Yeah. It's too bad we didn't see a lot of those Gen 2 Pokemon in Gen 3.
No,
The main games,
I just love what you guys have done and able to like bring all the sprites from like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and be able to add in everything from Gen 6. Like I just love how you have all the deltas and like everything follow you. It's like it's really impressive, especially like with me working on my own game right now, and like I have to do all the art by myself, so it's just like I don't. Yeah, it's not.
The first step is to make a team.
Yeah, no, my team is 4 programmers and myself, so.
I was gonna say that's like the third biggest advice I could give is find a team, work with people, because doing something on your own only works for so long.
Yeah.
Eventually, you need feedback, whether it's from people looking at it or people on your team who say, "Hey, this is great.
Yeah.
It should be changed because it would work better in this situation."
Yeah.
So, like when I was making Delta Noivern, I wanted to give it a custom ability, like most of the Deltas have.
Yeah.
Originally, if some people know it, the ability was called Synthetic Alloy, which would basically turn fire damage to only 1, to just normal effectiveness instead of 4 times super effective.
Okay.
And it was broken beyond hell. Like, it was the only thing keeping Noivern in an OU kind of tier.
Yeah.
And that ended up being changed because it was like, "Hey, Lunar, we love this, but it's gotta go.
Yeah.
It's broken."
Right.
It's like, yeah.
So there's some balancing you guys got to take into consideration too, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can't just like say give anybody an OP ability and call it a day.
I mean, Mega Hydreigon.
Oh, well, he's a Mega. Kind of makes sense. I mean, he might be a little bit powerful, but
Well, I've had people in the community tell me Mega Typhlosion is broken with Hubris, but I mean,
No, Mega Hydreigon's gonna be Uber's broken. Just straight broken. That one's gonna be so much fun to sprite. It's not. It's gonna take 9 heads and put it into one little box. And that's no fun for anybody. Nobody likes shoving 9 heads into a little box.
Yeah, no. That might be annoying.
I'm sure it'll look really cool though.
Are you guys also planning on like restructuring? Like, personally, I don't like Mega Salamence' design, but like, I know there are some people who like the croissant.
It's very bloody croissant.
Yeah.
We will not probably change official megas.
Okay.
There are some exclusions to this rule. So one of them is Steelix. Steelix has a Zeta and Omicron Mega.
Yeah.
And it was transferred over into Insurgence.
Oh, okay.
So what we did is we changed the labeling. So that one is Mega like Z versus Mega Official.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of those are even getting reworked. So a lot of our old designs from Zeta and Omicron are getting changed simply because Insurgence was made to be more serious and taken serious, whereas Zeta and Omicron was the total joke.
Oh, okay.
Just the butt of the joke. I mean, we're talking like stick figure sprites and swag everywhere in that game.
Was Suzerain joking when he said he was going to add like 8 one-hit KO moves? And I remember there's one tweet and Shofu's like, "You're trying to kill me, aren't you?"
He's not kidding, actually.
Oh, gosh.
I believe he's added 1 for every type.
Ooh.
So every single type will have a 0-hit KO move, if I remember correctly.
Ugh, that.
It's people don't realize Suze is not making this easy in the end. Not only will you have to face the Elite Four, which nobody will expect. The only thing people know are their names.
Yeah.
And that took months for people to find out. They're going to be insane. The champion's just going to be ridiculous. You're going to fight. You're going to have a situation in the final minutes of the first half of the game that you're not even going to expect.
Ooh,
There's
that's
twists everywhere. There's expected twists everywhere.
That's good though.
It's so much fun when people make the fan theories too, because there's been a lot of examples where they're right, and you want to tell them, but you can't.
Oh, jeez.
So you have to wait in anticipation for when that next version comes out, and they go, "I knew it." Those are great days.
I'm seriously glad I'm doing a randomized notes log. I don't.
Oh, and that's not even counting everything that comes after.
Yeah.
The whole second half of the game is going to be just fan service. Just complete and utter fan service. And it's going to be amazing.
Oh,
But it's not going to be fan service in the way people are expecting. Because I know what people are expecting. It's not going to be a gold and silver kind of situation. We're not bringing back Kanto.
Yeah.
Or in this case, Vesring. Not doing that.
Yeah.
Or are we?
I mean, gold and silver are my favorite versions. So.
You heard it here first, folks.
Purple and silver are mine.
Yeah.
Because Crystal's my favorite Gen 2. But Crystal was never remade, sadly.
No.
No, that's my theory though. Gold and silver remakes of.
What is your favorite generation of the main series games?
Oh, it has to be Gen 4.
Gen 4?
I stopped playing the main series at Gen 4. And now that I'm older, I actually want to go back, which is ironic and a little sad. But it's like, I've been doing this game and making these games for so long that it's like, I don't remember the main series. And I want to experience it. So right now it's Gen 4, but I have a very strong feeling it's going to be Gen 6 or even Gen 7 once it comes out.
Oh, right.
I have good hopes for Gen 7.
Me too.
I have very high hopes.
I came up with a convoluted theory for Gen 7. I don't think it's like I think it's supposed to be the Crystal remake that we were supposed to get with all the.
That would be really nice.
Because like I just feel like all the megas are probably going to be based off the Sun and Moon stones. Because like it just seems weird to me that they would skip over the Gen 2 starters and then either like go with megas from Gen 4 or like there's something missing from Gen 2. I feel like.
I feel like there's a lot they could do in Gen 2.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to end up being that Crystal remake.
It'd be nice.
It'd be great. I'd love to see a Mega Typhlosion. What's really sad is I'm still waiting for Nintendo to cease and desist us so they start using deltas.
No, they're what's it called? Or not the stones? I forget what.
Which stones?
Where you fuse with your human.
Oh, the burst stones.
Yeah, burst stones.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's a manga comment. Oh,
No, I know, but for some reason,
that's a huge theory right now. Is the burst stone?
Yeah. Do you want that in Gen 7?
Not really. I actually want them to just stick to the basics. I want more than 100 wands. I want like 160. Right. I want new evolutions.
Yeah.
Maybe new evolution ways.
Yep.
So like Malamar was one of the greatest evolutions I've ever seen. Because it's so random.
Yeah.
Same with Pangoro or the 2 fossils from Gen 6. Right. That was fun about Gen 6, is that they did these different evolutions.
Yeah.
And I want them to keep that going in Gen 7. I want to hear about a new Eevee where, this one you have to evolve in a certain factory, or this one you have to evolve underground.
Yeah.
You know? And then I still want to see Megas, but I don't want to see that many.
Yeah.
I don't want them to overdo it and say, this is how every Pokemon game is going to be now. We're going to have at least 50 Megas.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you don't need that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm hoping to see more Pokemon and more evolutions or even pre-evolutions of current Pokemon would be really cool.
I'd love to see Dunsparce get an evolution. I'd
Yeah.
love to see Miltank get an evolution.
Far-fetched.
And a lot of people saying we want Mega Evolution for Dunsparce, but I think Dunsparce would be better off with a regular evolution
And then a mega.
and then a Mega.
Agreed.
Right.
As far as the leaked list for Gen 7, did you look at that at all? Just to.
Not at all. See, I'm just going to stay out of rumors and leaks.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to not know anything except for the
starters, maybe.
Except for the starters and the one they just released for the movie, which I can't think of, the Metal Fairy. Whatever her name is, yeah.
I don't know her name.
Those are the only 4 I want to know about when I buy the game.
Yeah, Magearna.
Because I want to be like I'm 7 or 8 and I don't know anything again.
Yeah.
It's kind of the problem with like online is it ruins that.
Yeah.
The minute you have that, it just all of a sudden you know everything.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to avoid. You can't. You have to like completely shut yourself away from the internet,
especially with Twitter and everyone posting images on your.
Like I'm gonna turn off YouTube for the first 2 weeks, just playing because I know I follow so many just Pokemon players just for the sake of watching what they say on my games.
Yeah,
how they comment, and because of that, I actually love watching Nappy. I love watching Shady.
Yeah,
I love watching Clouded, which most people don't always bring up.
Yeah,
I wish he got more attention. I like Clouded, but. That's my opinion.
So then, did you like the Penta op that they did on your game?
No, but yes. And I'll tell you what. I loved the idea and the insanity that ensued. This is going to be really, really mean. And I don't want it to come across as mean because Tom did something like this and it really didn't help Celestite for a little while there. I didn't like the fact that just because they did a Penta op, they all of a sudden wanted trainers in the game. So, like, I get it. You're a big name in the community.
Yeah.
Like, you would always enjoy recognition when you're a big name in the community, but that doesn't mean you specifically have to be in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, it's going to sound really hypocritical, but it's like putting yourself as the lead villain in a game. The reason I say that's hypocritical is because Suze did it. Second region of Zeta and Omicron just hit it top notch in game development. But that's hypocritical. It's not good as an image because it kind of puts a little cockiness as the developer.
Yeah.
And if you're putting in the famous Poketubers, it puts this like, oh, we have to do what they want because they're famous in this community. And I kind of just don't think we need that.
Yeah.
I'm never against adding them in, but it's just I wish they might have come across it better instead of making it like kind of demanding. Like a lot of people after they played the Penta op, like, oh, they should be the Elite Four. No, they shouldn't be the Elite Four. We have a specific reason they're not the Elite Four.
We have an actual story.
We have a game we're making here. It has a plot that needs to finish.
Right, and it would also isolate the players who might not know who those YouTubers or people are. They're playing the games like, who the heck is Nappy?
Right, and that's actually a note for Celestite because we have that issue right now. There's a lot of Celestite's a mix. I see it as a mix of Insurgence and Zeta Omicron. It has the serious factor. It has the special elements to it that make it a lot like Insurgence, where it could be a main game.
Yeah.
And as I change more sprites and as I do more things with Tom, it's slowly becoming its own creature instead of being a simple game.
Yeah.
But there's also got that campiness of Zeta and Omicron where it references a lot of like internet jokes or people online or like I know there's a character somewhere in there that does the Hotline Bling as his like battle entrance.
Yeah.
And I don't like that actually because it's like it's going to be overdone. people aren't going to find it funny. They're going to find it lame. They're going to find it boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's always fun to make those references or those inside jokes.
Mm-hmm.
At least once, but
But it can't be the whole game.
yeah.
Unless that's the point of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very fine line, is if it's the point, then it works. If it's not, it doesn't.
Right.
And that's where I think Zeta Omicron made it work, whereas most games don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the get-go, you kind of knew Zeta Omicron didn't take itself that seriously.
Right.
The very opening scene, it asks you if you want your rival to have swag or not. Like, it just straight out tells you, hey, we don't care. Enjoy the game for what it is. Oh, I miss that sprite artist, and I don't at the same time. Will was the main sprite artist with Zeta Omicron. He was a card, to say the least.
Oh, wow.
Kept you entertained.
His art was fun to watch, man. Just go look up the plate Pokemon from Zeta Omicron, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Or look up Stan from Zeta Omicron, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That was...
I kind of want to play every single fan-made game, so that's the goal.
Honestly, you'd learn a lot as a developer.
Yeah.
You'd learn what games are too serious. You learn what games are not hard enough. So like this very popular opinion that Pokemon Reborn is one of the greater fan games. I think it's too dark. I think it tries to be too edgy. And Insurgence is made it fun of because we're too edgy. No, Reborn's bad in that sense. It's very edgy. It's very... Whereas games like Uranium, they add in that like darker storyline with the nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
Or the power plant exploding. But at the same time, you kind of forget that as you're playing. Sometimes you forget those darker parts because it just feels fun and lively and all the characters are fresh.
Yeah.
That's where I think Phoenix Rising is going to do really well, is because every character just looks fun and different and enjoyable. That's where I think Insurgents also worked, because Insurgents stood out from that crowd without going too far into Reborn territory.
Yeah.
So Insurgents has that dark story and that like looming undertone, but at the same time, it's got so many different features and new ideas and new techniques that you don't forget about it, but it just melds together into this good, solid idea.
I'm trying to remember. Isn't there another fan-made game that's basically the same as Reborn? Because I remember Shofu played like both of them at this.
Rejuvenation was a fan game based off of Reborn, so technically it's a fan game of a fan game, and it's the most complicated.
Yeah.
I've never played.
It's amazing the influence all these community-built games have had on a lot of the Pokemon community and stuff like that. It takes a lot of ideas that you wouldn't normally see in Game Freak made games.
Well, it's so nice as a fan game community that Nintendo doesn't shut a lot of us down.
Right.
So Nintendo could easily be like every AAA company and shut down anything related to their product. But instead they give this opportunity for us fan games, at least for a little while, to show what we can make. And I think that not only helps us, but it helps them, because it helps show, hey, these fan games did this, and this, and it was really popular.
Yeah.
What if we tried this, and this? And it just allows this. So, like Pokemon, 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And I actually think fan games had a good part in at least 3 or 4 of those years, if not 6 or 7, if you count the ROM hacks that were originally the mainstay. These fan games just give so much life and creativity and show that this community just loves what's come out of these 20 years. And the fact that someone who quit playing 6 years ago all of a sudden is an artist and is one of the leaders. I won't say leader, but one of the like examples of what this community could do.
Yeah.
It's a very eye-opening moment for me. I don't know. There's no other way to explain it. It's just like, it's amazing that something from my childhood, I won't say my childhood, but something from when I was younger still affects me to this day.
Right.
In a way that I never thought it would.
Yeah, it's we really are huge fans of the work that you guys do, and it really inspires us to jump in and start creating games of our own. So I'm sure it does for many people as well.
I still want to do that UCL game, man.
Right.
Like,
It could be done.
I don't know if you watched that, but I'm thinking of making like Shofu and Callum the enemy
no, I
team,
watch it.
and yeah.
I watch it. But you gotta make A-Drive the enemy team, man.
No, what I was thinking of doing it by how they finished in the entire tournament. So you have Christian as the first gym leader, and then Joey would be the champion.
All right.
So like basically any YouTuber that wasn't a part of the UCL is part of the enemy team. So like the story would be a little.
It'd be convoluted.
Yeah.
It'd almost be fun if you let people pick from like 5 or 6. Maybe you don't do a big game, but you do like smaller sections of each person. So maybe not all the way to the Elite Four, but like how they ranked, and you have a set spot where like maybe they lose as a character.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking of adding.
Because then it's like people can play as their favorite YouTuber.
I was thinking of that too. Because I kind of wanted to have it where each city is whatever town that their team name was. So like as soon as you walk into Viridian, it's Tucson, or if you walk into, but like not actually use the.
Right, but you'd have that like aspect. So like it would have that deserty.
Yeah.
Maybe not deserty. Tucson's not too deserty, but that feel.
And then like just have banners of their team on the buildings and stuff.
Maybe you guys. Here's an idea. You guys could strike a collaboration with some of these content creators on YouTube and stuff like that. Maybe.
Well, they would want a lot of themselves in the game, so that's the issue. Because.
And I think that's part of that would be my only issue with picking one person.
Yeah.
It's almost. Oh, so if I was going about this, I wouldn't want to pick one person.
Yeah.
Because then everybody else is like, well, why aren't I the main character?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's why I would almost go into it as like, you're a random person joining, and the entire UCL is challenging you.
Pretty much,
To like test your worth of joining.
Yeah.
So your end game would be, you won against all of us, you are ready to join the UCL.
Yeah.
And that would be more interesting, because then you could go into subplots and see the trainers and the battles. You could explore the stories and the jokes and the special mons that came out of it.
Yeah.
While still being an outside character and have all of the other characters have an equal role.
Yeah.
This may sound easier than I mean, this may sound easier said than done, but one idea could be you could create a character creation within the game. So average players can create their own character or create their own gym leaders.
So basically, just what Insurgence does.
Oh, right.
Well, we have customization. I won't say to the extent he's talking about, because he's talking like making your own gym leaders as well.
Yeah.
With their own teams.
Which
and
would
things like
definitely like maybe a quiz in the beginning that chooses from 1 to 8 who
Yeah,
your gym leaders would be.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. Require a lot of code.
Yeah, I can imagine.
For like sprite characters, how long does it normally take you to create like one full sprite? Because like that's one of the biggest things I'm just thinking of.
One full. Okay, so if we're talking trainers.
Yeah, just like a full trainer. Because like I've seen some of the stuff you post on Twitter, and I'm just wondering like how long does that usually take you? Like months, weeks?
Okay, so let's talk Russell. Let's talk Russell and Alice. Those are my best 2 trainers in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Russell. Russell's original design, and this is why I don't like Russell's design, how it used to be,
Yeah.
took me all of 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And that's because it was just a Gary clone. That was a very early on character that I made.
With red hair.
With red hair. And it is actually shorter red hair if you did pixel by pixel, but nobody does pixel by pixel. I also changed the arm, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
Alice, on the other hand, was I think it was a beauty or an aroma lady. I don't know. It was one of the ones with like a very big hat, right? And she used to have a big hat.
Yeah.
And then she used to carry the hat, but the hair was very bad and the head was too small. Then she didn't have a hat. Then the hat was in front of her. Then she had the hat back on her head. And I'm like, you know what? I don't like dresses and frilly hats. So I said, screw it. I'm making it a teenager punk. So this was, ironically, this was 7 versions later.
Wow.
So that seems to be a theme. So what I like doing with trainers is I like pulling pieces. It's splicing. I like pulling pieces to start. So Alice is made of a lass head, Flannery's chest. The pants, I don't remember who they're from. I think it's from the girl from Gen 5. It's one of the girl protagonists.
I don't even know what her name is.
And the shoes are from that same character.
Oh, okay.
But then what I do is I go, okay, I'm going to make these arms different. I'm going to make them more custom. I'm going to add gloves. I'm going to change the design on the shirt. I'm going to change the pants. I never changed the head. That's actually the next goal. I'm redesigning Alice very soon. Just the head. I like the body. So in general, getting to that 7th one took 3-4 months.
Okay.
But if we were just talking that one alone, it probably took a couple days, 3 or 4 at most, just for the sake of getting everything to not look like a splice. To have those custom elements, but have the bases so it still looked right. Now, Russell, on the other hand, was almost, I'd say 70% custom. So when I remade Russell, this took about 2 weeks.
That's pretty good for all the. Does that include like all the like skin color or what? Actually, wait, no, that probably wouldn't be too.
We may end up doing skin colors, but no, Celestite only has 1 skin color. Honestly, skin colors take 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, you just paint, drop, and drag the. That's why I withheld the question. I forgot about that.
It's okay, but no. So those 2 weeks, about a week and a half of it was spent on the hair.
Oh, okay.
I kid you not, spent all on the hair because I finally said, you know what? I'm making his hair 100% custom. 100% custom. But I'll start with the body. The only thing I think is borrowed is the pants from Lucas, the platinum version, because I liked the overall
the
pose.
stripes,
Not so much the stripes, but just the pose of how they were standing.
Okay.
So I edited the color. I changed a little bit of the design of them. Otherwise, the shirt is custom made. The arms are based off of the Fire Gym Leader from that same generation, but they are not exact. Or not Gym Leader, Elite 4 member. But they are not exact copies. They are custom made. I just used the one guy as a reference as I was spraying him. So he has kind of broad shoulders because of it. And then the hair, the only thing about that face that isn't custom is the physical face, which I borrowed from the Bug Gym Leader of Gen 4. I liked that kind of serious look, but he still looked like a kid.
can't remember his name. The curly guy
Bugsy.
with the green.
Oh, Wally?
The one with the purple hair.
Oh, purple hair.
Oh, that's Gen 2. If you're.
Is that? Oh, I'm thinking Gen 4 because Heart Gold.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Because I used the Heart Gold one. But
Right.
yeah, I'm thinking of
Yeah,
him.
Bugsy. Okay. Yeah, when you said Gen 4, I was thinking of the guy with the green.
Well, I just thought Gen 4 because I have a big sprite sheet of just trainer sprites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And it's my template because it has every single trainer sprite from Gen 1 to Gen 5.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I look at that whenever I need pieces or whenever I need an example.
Wow.
It's helpful, but it goes down in a list. So it goes down in order. And I just remember him in the 4th generation section.
Nice.
So you would recommend doing that then if you wanted to sprite, like getting all...
It's helpful. You don't necessarily have to go and do anything because most people have already collected it all.
Oh, okay.
Like I found mine just Google Images.
Okay.
It's very helpful. It allows you to see how Nintendo does it, so you can try to
Emulate it.
Right.
emulate it, but also not do what they don't do right. Because there are a lot of things Nintendo doesn't always do right,
Right.
Yeah.
even as a AAA company. But yeah, and God, that hair took me too long. So what's funny is that hair is based off of Brendan's costume when he goes into contests.
Oh.
So when I was originally making the hair, I wanted spiky hair, but I didn't want complicated spiky, like Gary Oak.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was looking around, and all of a sudden I saw the concept art for Brendan in his contest costume in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. That's it. That's the one. So I took it as a reference, and I'm looking at it, and I draw it out, and it doesn't quite look right. And then my friend goes, well, why don't, instead of trying to draw it exact, just draw a generalization. And that's what ended up coming with Russell 2.0. And I very much love that hair now. It's probably one of my better sprites.
Cool.
At least in my list. Some people may say it's not.
No, I think it looks really nice too.
Well, some people weren't always a fan of the red hair, but nobody ever caught the joke that it's Silver's kids. So
I honestly didn't even know that.
So there's a joke going on. Not so much a joke, but in Celestite, there are two families, Cam's family and your family. Your family is the female protagonist and Silver, or the female protagonist of Gold and Silver, and then the rival, which was named Silver. And we were going to keep making that joke just slowly. Like, I was eventually going to make an adult Silver sprite, and you would see him. You might battle him. Cam is the child of Gold and Crystal. Hence the blue hair.
So did you do all this? Well, I guess you didn't do all this. You have a team, but like which megas did you personally work on in Celeste? Like Shuckle or Arcanine or
So,
Chatot?
oh god. So, okay, so before I get to the megas, I do want to mention one comment. Celestite only got a team in terms of a sprite team right at the demo release.
Okay.
We added Selena, who is a sprite animator, something I don't know how to do.
Okay.
At the right before we released, she's the one who created Rotom's sound, which is the one that looks like a radio. But otherwise, the sprites you see in Celestite are mine. They are, unfortunately, on my own, and that's going to be changed now that I have Selena with me. But I do take pride in the fact that, like, when people comment on the sprites, that was me. The only one that's not is Cam. Cam was made with help from Echo the Third. he helped me design the hair because I couldn't quite get it right the way I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that like flat look, but his head kept turning out too flat.
Right.
So he helped me figure that out, and he helped me work on the costume, like the actual shirt, so it looked correct.
Okay.
I still did the base pose, and I still did the base like colors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He just helped me get the finer details more on point.
Okay.
But like Ivy, Terrence, Nadia, the evil team, Zane, those were made out of just ideas that Tom gave me. And he said, all right, roll with them. I want to see what you make. It's like, okay, you want ninjas with metal masks. Hold on. Here you go.
Wow. Cool. Well,
But to go back to the real question, which was the megas, I don't have a hand in any of the megas.
Oh, okay.
So Arcanine and Ninetales come from Tom's original game, which was Pokemon Ace. And Tom has since abandoned that game like a... Well, I won't make that analogy. That's a bad analogy. It's the proper analogy. It's just a bad analogy. The other ones, Chatot. I'm trying to think who else is in the demo.
Chatot is pretty gnarly looking.
Ninetales. I don't know.
Ninetales, Arcanine, Chatot,
Shuckle.
Shuckle X and Y. Those three are made by a spriter on DeviantArt that Tom had asked to make those.
Mm.
And that was because I was busy at the time. I was working on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked if he could get some help, and of course I said yeah. I actually know him, the guy who made him. His name's Paragon on DeviantArt.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very good sprite artist. I trust him 100% when he's making sprites. I actually enjoyed Chatot.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. Echo made a version that like was joked about being put in Insurgence that I also really like.
Yeah.
But it's more cartoony, less like the one ours is.
Mm-hmm.
I still laugh at Chatot even though I love it. I love Shuckle X over Shuckle Y, but that's opinion. I think Shuckle X just changed more.
Right.
Shuckle Y kind of looks like a Cresselia to me.
A little bit. But after 1.3, which is actually 0.1.3, we're going to fix that. Because it's a demo, it's not the game.
Yeah.
A lot's going to change. But after 0.1.3, Selena and I plan on making most of the megas.
Okay.
So I will be spriting the Johto megas. Selena's got some ideas of her own. There is a Mega Noivern in the works.
Cool.
Because I couldn't leave my favorite bat without a mega. And that was designed by a good friend of mine. He showed it on Twitter once, deleted it immediately. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
Cool. Now, is Mega Shuckle X and Y different types? Are they different types? Or
No, but they're different stats.
okay.
So X is based on
Attack.
and defense, but Y is based on special attack and special defense.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks like that too. One of is more like a physical kind of.
And I think he gave them moves so that you could pick a type
Yeah.
if you wanted.
X is Gigalith, and then Y
okay.
is Cresselia. Well, just from what I see from the.
Well, I just somewhere meant that like we added moves to the move pool.
No, yeah.
To try to help, because I know
He gets like barely anything.
he gets barely anything.
All right.
So you said you were doing the Mega Starters. Does that mean like you're gonna, or not Mega Starters? Sorry, Mega or Johto Megas. So like, are you planning on doing Mega Crobat, Mega Donphin, or well, you guys already did an Insurgence, but
Well, spoiler. You just spoiled one for Insurgents.
oh sweet.
I'll let you know that.
You
So
heard it here first, folks.
treat it like a Radio Whirlwind podcast.
There you go.
That was a mess of a show. Anyway, we were going to do the Johto starter megas, guaranteed,
Yeah.
as we talked about earlier.
So that'll be different from Insurgence?
That'll be 100% different. I'm not using any designs that were put on the internet.
Cool.
The only design I am using is from a friend of mine who actually sketched it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I will still be making the sprite 100% on my own. I will just be looking at her image and trying to understand her pink little drawing.
Okay.
Or purple little drawing. But she does... Her name's Fluffy Chikorita. You'll know her on Insurgence as the girl who normally does all the special, like, action art, kind of, for our Mega reveals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she's the one who made Mega Hydreigon's big image versus my little sprite.
So you got the fun job.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who made my Noibat icon that I use to this day.
Oh, cool.
It's my favorite one. There's actually a lot more art in Noibat than I thought there'd ever be.
Wow.
That one is still my favorite one.
No,
so
I like Noibat. I think he's a pretty cool dragon.
He was horribly put away in Insurgence. That's another spoiler that I won't try to get into, but I really don't like the Mysterious Tower. It is not what I planned.
Right.
I wanted it to be like Sky Tower, where like there's still the puzzles, but you get a break.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was a pain in the butt. That last turn, I took like...
Suze was just like, no, let's give them just no breaks. Go.
I think that took like 30 minutes just to get through that one part.
Oh no, it took me 3 hours. It took me 3 hours alpha testing it.
Yeah, that's not...
So that is talked about getting fixed, and then there's talk about just leaving it to make people mad. Which I really don't want to do, because that's my baby hiding in that tower.
Yeah. It's hard to reach, it really.
And it's not one that really should be hard to reach. One that should be hard to reach is like a very special, like legendary one, or like one that might allow breeding. But we're not sure how we want to handle Delta breeding yet.
Yeah.
There's the idea of, we could just make a Delta Ditto, but that's kind of easy, and then Deltas don't become rare.
That's
There's
true.
There's talk of, maybe they'll breed a Delta egg, but it's random, based on a certain set value, and you have to breed 2 Delta Dittos to do it, or you have to breed a Ditto and a Delta Ditto. And there's a whole mess of ideas.
Competitively, that might be messy, because if somebody wants a specific nature or type, then that's not...
Well, I mean, if you had one of them the right type.
Yeah. Because, like, the way breeding works now, you have to give the parents certain items in order to keep certain moves and get their nature, and then that's only a percentage chance. So, like...
Well, and, like, depending on how we do it, so Deltas may not get egg moves.
Yeah.
But we may have a Delta tutor,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how we go about this. So, like, if there is no egg moves, Deltas would get a special tutor that could teach them special moves.
Yeah.
That realistically would just be their egg moves.
Okay.
Like, in the code, it would just be labeled as their egg move, but they couldn't get it. So stuff like, I don't know, stuff like Sludge Bomb on Delta Wyvern.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe like there should be a special breeder, and you can only use it after you've beaten the Elite Four. That way, it's harder to obtain instead of them just being able to breed deltas.
Oh no, people will not get it until after at least the second region.
Okay.
Like we've already discussed that. You're the hardcore fans who really want to like keep playing after the game ends.
Yeah.
Will go hunt it, but the people who just want to play, they'll be done after the second region. Excuse me.
I feel like my team. I'm looking at the tweet that I sent you guys, and I think my team is going to get bodied by whatever you guys have planned.
Well, once it gets bodied, can't help you there.
No, I know.
What is nice is I think Suze is talking about whatever the second region is going to be, it's going to have the same kind of ideas as Zeta and Omicron did.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to leave your team behind at first, and you're going to have to start with a new set.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I don't think any game has done that idea that I can think of.
And I like that idea because it forces players to try something new.
Yeah.
It says, you've used this team. They're all level 120. Nope, now you gotta put them away.
Yeah.
Until the end. Then you can see them again.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun.
No, I actually really like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I just hope it works right.
Right.
Because I know there's so many people who are like, oh, just add all 6 regions into one game. That's not gonna work.
That's so much file space.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'd be boring. Your team's already level 100 after the first region almost. What are you gonna?
Like, unless you went to every region and they're like, oh, now you gotta pick a new one.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But like people, like, what's the point of that?
Or they would like all cap at 100 once you get to a certain point.
Well, no. Even if you're capped, that'd be boring because you're going through 6 regions with level 100 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Even if the trainers were 100, it'd still be like,
Like
if you knew your team well, that's just a grind fest.
yeah, you already have your XP. Like you probably already have like $1 million by then.
Well, so do you have any other questions? Or I think that might be it.
No, I think all the questions I have are spoiler related. So I'm sure you already have Mega Delta Neuvern.
Let's do a spoiler lightning round, and I'll tell you if I can answer it or not.
All right, Mega Delta Neuvern.
No Mega Delta Neuvern.
Dang. Mega Malamar.
Malamar. Not that I remember. There's a big list of megas that we want to do. So
Oh, you're cutting it down. Okay,
Mega Stunfisk.
that's already in the game.
Oh.
already there.
Oh, I guess
Are
I
you
missed
talking
that.
Celestite?
No, I was talking about Insurgents, but yeah. I think I might have seen like a
No, yeah,
picture of it.
That's got like these claws and.
right.
I mean, no, it's actually a pretty cool design. I just can't see Stunfisk with hands. It's weird.
Oh no, it was made to be creepy. That's for sure.
No, go ahead.
Oh no.
No, he was.
I said it was made to be creepy.
No, I know, but like it sounded like you were gonna say something else, and I cut you off.
Nah.
I guess Mega Frostlass is because like there's a Mega Glalie, so.
That actually already got revealed.
All right.
You can go to Zero Breaker's Twitter page, or Suze's or Echo's, but I'd say go to Zero's because he's the one who designed Mega Frostlass. So it's always great to try to go to support the main artist who sprited it.
Yeah, I think I'm only following you and Suze, so that's probably why I didn't see that one.
I'll link you to it. And then Echo designed Mega Delta Frostlass to match it. So they both were revealed at the same time.
Oh wait, that's the fire. Now I remember.
That's the Kimoni looking.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why I just did this dance. It's a camp.
Gotta keep body moving, which has seen it out for a long time.
So like, I guess since you were talking about how YouTubers were kind of trying to put on that they want to be in the game, do they also ask you to make like megas and stuff for their specific Pokemon as well, or just like?
Actually, I think only one of them asked, and I don't remember what our response was. I think they asked for a special Mon to be in. It was like Jay or Shofu. I don't remember.
Magnetar made it.
The one thing I think is not going to happen is I don't know if we're spriting the trainers. So we are thinking of throwing them in, whether it's for like a Battle Frontier, or like maybe you see them as you're battling around, or if it's like in the second region, maybe they're there as like special hidden trainers.
Yeah.
But it's still a debate on whether we're going to do full custom sprites for every single person.
Yeah.
Or whether it's going to be more like a memory trainer where their file is there and their mons are there, but they're just a basic trainer.
I think it'd be cool and unexpected if you just put A Drive at the very end after you beat the Elite Four. He just randomly comes to your house like Zinnia and just battles you with his full bug team. That'd be so unexpected, and everyone would just be like, "What?"
That's so mean. That's so mean.
It's beautiful. It's just
No.
just give him 6 megas.
That's so wrong. Don't bring up this Zeta Omicron type BS. No, because okay, so Zeta, I keep bringing that game up because it's just so out there. Suze had a moment in that game or you battle both red and then the main villain without healing, and they both have like level 120 mons.
Yeah.
And the main villain has two completely broken mons. It's just a nightmare for like Nuzlocke.
Yeah, no, I played something similar with Pokemon Red Adventures. At the end of the Orange League Island, you have to fight Green, Blue, and Drake 3 times each without healing, like in a row. So you're battling 9 times in a row without being able to like pause and heal.
That's ridiculous.
And they have 3 different megas each. So like Mega Wigglytuff, Mega Dragonite, Mega Arceus. I had to heal so many times just to beat
It's so ridiculous. And I love those little moments, but I also hate those little moments.
Because like you feel accomplished beating it, but it's like,
was it necessary?
yeah.
Did I really have to do that? Couldn't that have been like a hard mode challenge?
Right.
Because like they're already level 100. I mean that's a challenge in it of itself. So
Yeah, it's like you want me to get all the way to level 100 just to be able to fight these guys 9 times? It's no fun.
no, but I do like how challenging that game was, but I kind of wish they took your guys' idea a little better to be like serious. Because for the first half of the game, they did go based off of the manga, and then I don't know what happened, but the creator kind of started doing
What he wanted.
a lot of jokes and I just didn't find them funny at the.
To a point, that does kind of follow the manga as far as I remember. There's a lot of like moments where it's just humor.
Well, it was a lot. I think it was mostly filler. So after you beat the Pokemon League, it's just like all filler.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well,
but I'm actually surprised we were able to keep this going for
Yeah,
an hour and 30 minutes. Jeez.
well,
you're gonna have a lot to be able to say.
yeah.
I don't know. Thank you. I thought we were only gonna have like a 10-minute conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for being in this interview.
No problem.
Any plugs you want to put in? DeviantArt.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit me up on my SoundCloud.
Sure.
Just little links next to my fingers. No. Will this be seen by like other people in your class?
I just realized I've been recording this, so this is 4.5 or 4.8 gigabytes. So maybe.
For the people in your class, I just want to say, not just as a fan game developer, and obviously this is weird to say to a college class because I'm just a senior in high school, but just as a game developer, have fun. Don't make a project to please people. Make a project to please yourself, because you're going to make something people love regardless, as long as you like it. Somebody is going to find your humor hysterical. Somebody's going to find your art amazing. Somebody's going to find your stories insanely just creative. And it's just a matter of making it the way you want it to be shown.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that reflects who you are, what you like, what you want out of this. It's just more fun. You'll have more fun.
Right.
It turns a job into a hobby. It turns a chore into an activity, a moment with friends. And that's nothing, there's nothing I would give up if I had to try to give up writing. I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Actually, at the end of our semester, we're actually planning to make like maybe a gaming company. So maybe we might see if you want to join in, if you got time, possibly.
Well, this would be based in California, I would assume.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be in Alabama.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So that may be awkward.
I mean, 4 years is not that long, so.
We could wait.
Yeah. No. Well, we're gonna be working. I know I'm gonna, because at the end of this class, we have to show our demo to EA Games and Zendagi. They're gonna come in, and depending on if they like their game, they actually hire your team. So
Nice.
that would be some good experience just to get in the field. So that way, if we have our own team, then we know like the marketing side and how everything works within like Steam and some of the other like outlets that you have.
Right.
So it's nice to get other contacts, so you know, like, okay, so here's a sprite artist, here's a 3D artist, but I mean, like, everyone has things they want to learn too, so.
Well, I mean, if you ever need me, you've got my contacts.
Okay.
For the most part. You've got most of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you ever need my email, I can always give it.
Okay.
Sure.
Not some big secret.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I really appreciate this and hope to talk to you again later.
awesome. I'm James.
Have a wonderful night.
Yeah, you too.
See ya.
All right, later. Thank you.